Hello guys, Kelly here again from Kel's Aquariums. So, been planting up this tank a little bit. I have added some anubias nana bonsai into there, which you can see are all these like little bunches. We'll have a look at them in a sec. I've put some fontinalis in there, which is this moss here, which we will look at, and some taxiphyllum, which is spiky moss, which is this stuff here. So, I've also added a bit of cholla wood. I've put the big lump of wood that's going in here as well in, but it doesn't sink fully yet. So it's not in its final position, so it looks a bit weird. It's where it is because it's held down with this rock here, which again we'll look at closer. I just wanted to show you these. I've basically ordered the in vitro grown Tropica stuff. I think it's Tropica, just bear with me. I've got a thing. Well, I have no idea who it's from. Oh no, it's Aquaflora. So in vitro grown anubias nana bonsai. And you get tons of little plants in it, in the gel, you know, if you've ever had the tissue culture lot. So I've basically, because this is lava rock, that one's semi-immersed. So most of it's underwater, but there's a few leaves sticking out. So yeah, you get loads of these little plants in the gel. If you've ever had in vitro plants, you'll know you get them in gel. And this is what you get. And I've just, because it's lava rock and there's holes and stuff all over, they're just all poked in. Nothing's glued, nothing's tied down. They've been in a night just because, well, they have. And yeah, so I've slung them all over the shop, as you can see. I'm on a bit of a tripod, so I'm just going to lower it down. Let's go a bit lower. Let's get to here. It's a bit more reasonable. I can look at some of the others. Yeah, so all around there's just bits of this stuff. Bits of this anubias nana sticking out of all the lava rock. Oh, just one step out. So again, that's real close to the surface, that one. Most of them are. There's some deeper. Well, you can see one at the bottom of the screen down there. I don't know if I've got any more. Yeah, I've got a bit more to. But yeah, they're all getting a bit of light, and I'm hoping they all take over and grow. The in vitro stuff generally is pretty good because they're all real young plants, so you generally get quite a nice bit of growing. But yeah, they're everywhere. I've got them in the crevices. I ain't got many at this side. I think I've only got the one at this side, and it's I'm just gonna have to. I'm just gonna tilt a bit and go over. It's just down there, near all the moss. Now the moss has just been tarred on with fishing line. Nothing major has happened with it. It's I'm waiting for it to grow in. Moss, you can get it looking pretty good straight off the bat. I never do, but you can if you spend a bit more time. But all it takes is a month, maybe not even that, and that'll have took over in this tank, and I'll be cutting it back. And then once you've cut it back, it'll have took over to the point where it's all real sweet. So yeah, I'm quite happy with. There's a little cheeky one in there. Look. Just there under the lip. So some of the moss is already out of the water. I say it's all aquatic moss at the moment, so that's the fontinalis. So we'll have a look actually in the water in a minute. But yeah, as you can see, the water's getting sucked up the wood further than the moss is currently going, so I'm hoping that is fine, because the majority is underwater. Same with this the spiky moss. As you can see, some of it's out the water and it all looks alright. It hasn't dried out, so that's a good thing. And I've got a bit on the rocks and stuff at the back over here, which again I'm going to have to go handheld at some point, which means it's going to get a bit shakier. But for now, we're just going to go a bit lower and have a look in the actual water from sort of lower down. So back in the room. So as you can see from the side, there is plenty of moss in there, and loads more little anubias. So there's a few lower down there, as you can see. That's the fontinalis, and a bit of a blow around. I ain't tied it real tight. I've tied it tight, but there's a few bits and bobs flying about. That's that big crazy lump of wood. The only issue with that is, as I say, it's meant to be tipped the other way. Sorry, my hand's been part of the reflection problem. It's sort of meant to be tipped, so it's just while it's getting buoyancy, because the back end of that is all covered in moss. But I'd say this bit's meant to be on the substrate, but the way it's floating is just becoming a problem for doing that. So as you can see, there's the lava rock, and we have plenty of moss around it and little plants on it. So I say I've got some of the devil's ivy or pothos, and I'm going to put a bit of that in this corner over here, so the roots are down that side, and we're going to see how it goes. But yeah, so I'm just going to go up a bit on the so up there you might be able to see, well you will when I zoom in, where the waterfall sort of comes out. Look, there's some more moss actually on the rocks. So there's actually some moss on the rocks around here, which I'm hoping will either grow up or down them. I'm not real bothered which, maybe even both. So yeah, it's busy. But as you can see, that's it. I say the cholla wood's just down here. Don't know if anyone's had much to do with cholla wood. It's good for your shrimps, they love it, grows biofilm. Don't last long in comparison with some wood. You're talking, much more than a year or two, and there'll be nothing left of that. It'll be really thin. But your shrimps, it grows some serious biofilm and that. It keeps them busy. So I say this is going to get a load of cherries. I say cherries, a load of neocardina or whatever they're called. Neocardina. It's going to be a mixture of cherries and yellow. I can't remember what they're called. The yellow ones, is it yellow? Some or others. My brother's got loads of different ones. I'm not a big shrimp guy, other than Amano shrimps. I've always had Amano shrimps, and I'm a big fan of them. I've had cherry shrimps once, but no, never out startling. And I'm just going to go. So I'm going to put loads of cherries in. There's going to be a few bees in there. Our kid's got a mixture of all different types. And I know if you interbreed them, you get wacky colours, green uns, all sorts. Like see-through ones. He's already got a tank what's a bit like that, so I'm just going to take a load of the babies out of there, because he said I can, and we're going to crack on. But yeah, so there's a bit of a look around. There's plenty of moss down these, just tied on with fishing line, as I say. No bother, it'll take over, and once it's been cut once or twice, it'll look the business. Moss, don't worry about setting a tank up and how it looks day one. That's not what you're aiming for. You're not aiming for day one perfect, because you won't get it unless you've got tons of moss and you've got tons of plants already grown and you don't want to grow them in. Whereas I want to see these little cheeky anubias, see if they actually take off. I want to see how big they grow. With them being nano bonsai, I'm guessing not a lot. Over here I've got a bit of as you can see, a bit of biofilm growing on this wood. So, but yeah, we're going to go out handheld now, and I'm going to blow some people's caps off. Oh, before we get there, there's a fat mess. Fat Mess 2's coming into shot now. Chubby! And then me other big fat mess is over there. I always end up having a look at these idiots while we're looking at this tank. You can't get that one in your mouth. But yeah, so just thought I'd have a look at him. So anyway, we're back over here. I've got a little dehumidifier running. I always tend to. Doesn't do hardly out anyway. And I've also got this skimmering for the time being, because I've got a bit of food in the bottom. Just rotting to keep the tank cycled, because I filled the filter up yesterday with fully seeded media, and should be alright. So I've still got a load of space over this side, which I might put a bit of cholla wood or something down there as well. I've got some more, and so from the top you're sort of looking like this, cheeky thingy. So we're going to just come over here so you can see the Paludarium section, the actual landy section. So over here there's just some, it's a big liner, it's pond liner filled with, you can still see wires and stuff, because until I get my plants to plant in there I aren't messing about burying things. There's bits of stone which don't need to be there if I've not got space. Same with that piece of wood. There's actually some seeded bioworm under here. But yeah, I'm going to bang a bit of pothos in there, or your devil's ivy, and I might put a bit sort of behind there as well, and just have some growing sort of over here, and then some over here hopefully growing down the side. But yeah, it's going well. I cut back the waterfall bit, so the line has really cut back now. You probably can't even see any. It's just a flow, and as I say, there's a little pump pushing that out faster because I wanted a bit more flow across the top, because that's going to be the only real flow in the tank once that's you know, out. Well, it's going to be sucking in here and then blowing it back out here after it's come through a JBL 901 full of Bioome and Cyperax and all sorts, mostly Bioome if I'm being honest, and then it's going to go through that. That's about, I don't know, it's best bit of 9 litres of JBL mineral rock, or mineral substrate, whatever it's called, volcanic mineral. That's the one. I'll get there in the end, don't worry. So yeah, but yeah, look, so we're going to have a little look around at all these little anubias. Look at these cheeky little anubias everywhere. I'm loving that. Just all fit into little crannies, nooks and crannies. But yeah, in that one, ooh, where am I going? There, look, it's just got like 2 leaves out. The rest are underwater. And I'm hoping they all like attach themselves, which they probably will. There's that. There's the other one. There's another one. And then down here, that's there's loads of moss just tied on the back of that, which is meant to be stuck up in the air, but isn't, just because that wood, as I said, is not is still buoyant. Sorry. But yeah, it's I'm happy with it at this moment in time. You know, there's plenty of action. But yeah, big fan of them. I'm going to show you it here. So this is the packaging from the Anubias. So it's just one of these. So it's just an Anubias in a pot, and I say somewhere down the bottom it says it's there you are, Ecoscape in vitro. And if you look, not against a white background. Oh, my hands are failing me. It's one of them. So an Anubias Bateriva Nana Bonsai. And if you look on the back, somewhere on there we are, Aquaflora. So yeah, it gives you all the action, low light, you know, the pH, it should be KH, all that lot, but it's Anubias, so it'll grow more or less out. That's the, sorry, not to be, I might as well show you actually while looking at this. Just a titty, sorry, some spiky moss. I've just had a bad crisp, I'm choking. So that's what we got. Oh, I really am. That's pretty funny. And then some Fontanalis. So we'll see how it all grows in, and when I get me terrestrial plants and a bit of terrestrial moss on some of this, and we'll see how it all looks. But anyway, thanks for watching.